Okay, so we trimmed down the edges, we sanded it smooth, and we put the lights in. Let's see if I can show you guys. I'll turn it around and you can see where the battery pack is being stored for now. So we completed section L in the instruction sheet. So we're going to move on, and we're going to actually go on to section M. So you can see we're actually going to plank the port side. So we got to start by taking these pieces, and it looks like, okay, we're going to stain the inside of them, and we're going to put them into place first. You can see where they're going to go. Then we have to put the that little piece of the deck that we had made down at the bow. Actually, before even that, after we put the sections on, we have to plank the whole thing. So that's a that's a big thing, just to ho-hum, okay, not done, done. So this is going to be a big part. So that's probably why section M of the instructions is going to be part A and part B. Because once everything's done, we still have to put all the pieces on for the bow. Then we have to plank the front over the bow piece, cut everything on, and then we have to plank the stern. And you can see we got to sand it down, and then we sand everything smooth. So there may not be a lot of pictures, but there's a lot to do in section M. So let me go ahead, and we're going to take a look at my notes. Okay, so this is part 14 of my notes, section M of the manual. We have to repeat the steps that we did in section K on the port side to be planked. The pieces with the cannon openings, we don't plank that section. We're going to trim and sand the tops near the poop deck in midship. And we're going to add the piece of the deck for the bow section, but we have to paint that brown. We're going to add the pieces to the bow, and that would be these pieces right here, because that's going to actually, when it's sanded smooth, it's going to form the bow. And we have to plank the section above where the deck is. And then we got to do the planking on the stern. So we're going to mark the center line, and we're going to use that as a guide. And it's only going to go down to the opening on the top. Then we got to plank the stern. We'll trim out all the openings. Then we'll sand the bow down smooth, and then we sand down the entire ship nice and smooth. So there's a lot to do before we even think of doing that. First thing we got to do is we got to start planking. So that's going to be the walnut die that we're going to use. So first thing I think I should do is actually get those pieces. So let's get the pieces out. Bring that out. So this is going to go on the inside of the opening, one of the cannon holes. Okay, so let's get the M1 and M2 pieces ready. This one is going to go right here. So this is going to go right up against this bulkhead, just like that. And that one's going to go up against that other bulkhead. Okay. That looks good. Now I know where they're going to be positioned. So what I want to do now is we're going to clean them up a little bit. Yeah. All right, that looks good. So now what we got to do is we actually have to glue the F9 piece. Okay, so this is going to go, my do believe this is how it's going to go in place. Here we are. You can see it's all blocked off. Alright, so we'll put this aside because we got to put paint on this. And the dye is going to go onto the inside of this section. And I'm thinking it's going to be because when we look in from the other side, we don't want this to be visible. We want it to be dark when we look in and have it nice and spooky. There. Alright, let's do the other side now. There we are. That looks good. Okay. So that's everything that we need to stain for this part. So I'm going to let that dry a bit, and we need to take the brown paint. I'm going to do it that way. I don't want to go against the grain. I'm going to go with the grain in separate areas to kind of it looks pretty good. Okay, we're going to put this aside because we're not going to put this on until after we plank the side. So let's put this aside for now. But now I got to think about putting these on. Alright, so this section is going to interlock with the one going in the front, and it's going to go right here. Just like that. So now we start. I got to get the nails, the hammer, and we'll start gluing. So I'm going to do 3 on each bulkhead. If I need to order more nails, I'll just get more. Alright, so what I want to do now is I want to push it in, but make sure it's right up against the bottom. Here we are. Now we're going to move along to the next one. See how now the bulge is going? Where if I would have nailed it to the end first, there would have been a bulge there. This way here, the piece of wood is going to follow the bulkhead. All right, let's do this section now. And lastly, make sure that it's as close and snug. There. See, we got that section in now. And I just want to make sure we got it on the right bulkhead. So what we got to do now is we got to get the other section. Here it is. And this section is going to go here. And we're going to put it right up against that other bulkhead. And I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to follow the line. Make sure that it's snug. This is going to be snug. I know this is time consuming, but this section has got to be done. Okay, so you can see we have the sections on. So it looks like we're going to have to start all the planking now. Because we got the M1 in, we got the M2 in, and we're up to this part, and what we got to do now is we actually have to start planking. So why don't we go ahead and we're going to turn her around. That looks pretty good. So what we got to do is I got to bring it down. I want to make it symmetrical with the other side. So put it right about here and put it up against the keel. Then we'll clamp it. Then we'll nail it and glue it. So let's go ahead and we're going to put some glue on. All right, so now I'm going to go down toward the bow. Actually, I'm going to, just like we did on the other side, this one has to twist. So I want to clamp it and I want to even it up with the other side. So let's put clamp on, or two, just to be safe. Okay, now we're going to just nail down. So we're going to go down and put a nail in all the bulkheads. All right. You can see we have the end piece on. So let me try to get it where you can see all the way to the end of the ship. There. Okay, so we're going to cut that piece off. I'm going to make it even. to the other side. There we are. So that's good. That's in place. And we're going to do the same thing now for the next side. So I'm going to bring it down to meet this one now. So I got to kind of cut it the same way. I want to make sure we keep the chip on the towel. And this one's going to go here, and we're going to kind of start to angle it. Okay, so I think one more plank should pretty much close it in. At least I hope so. So look at that. That looks really good because I want it snug, but that's perfect. All that sanding paid off. So now I just got to try to get it out. Okay, so now we can glue it. And when it comes to the end part, we're going to leave that glued, and then we're going to sand that after everything's dry. But hopefully you guys can see all the planking on the bottom. So let's flip her over. You guys remember we already did the starboard side, and I know she's getting kind of big. So this is part A of the part M in the manual. So what I had to do is we had to start planking the lower half of the hull, and then we had to put these plates on where the cannon openings are going to be. So what we're going to do in part B is we're going to plank all the way up to the poop deck like we did on the other side. And it should be a little bit easier doing those sections than it was planking the lower hull, because remember, not only did I have to do the planking, but then we had to go back and I ended up closing in all the areas that needed to be closed in. Now in the instructions, like last time, that was later on that they actually went back and closed everything up, but I wanted to close everything up. So now, when we look at the bottom, because I wanted to put the lights on, if I'm able to. Now there should be a reflection of that wall. If I can get this power pack out. Okay, so let me put the lights out. You see the bottom now? How it's reflecting? That's why it didn't really look like anything before, but now we have that reflection. So there'll be just enough light. And I know it looks really bright on camera, but with the naked eye, it's really not that bright. Plus, there's a couple of little surprises that I'm going to put down at the bottom. But you can see, hopefully you guys can see. And again, we can see the bulbs only because I'm angling up on the inside. When it's at eye level, we won't be able to see them. But yeah, I got a few little goodies that are going to go on the bottom. And now that it's planked on the other side, I think it'll look really cool. They didn't say anything about staining the inside of the planks. I don't know. I'm thinking about maybe putting a little bit of stain on the inside just to darken that wall a little bit. But we'll see. Let me put the lights back on. I'm going to turn off the power pack. And again, I'm glad I didn't go with the lighting strips, because if I would have went with the LED tape, then we start thinking about running a power plug, and we would have had to drill into the bottom, and I really didn't want to do that. So my friends, I know this is not the most exciting part of the video, but it is necessary. It's funny how she's reminding me of Noah's Ark right now. But we did the lower part of the hull, the lower half. This would be where the water line is, back to the rudder. We put on the plates where the cannon openings are going to be. And in the next video, we're going to plank all the way up. So my friends, thank you so much for the kind words. And until my next video, I'll talk to you guys soon.